Welcome to the first episode of Shigai. So let's start this episode off with the bad news. I downloaded the Node controller mod, found out I wasn't really a massive fan of it, so I deleted it and bam, killed my save game. Not only that, did it kill the Shimayama save game, it also killed my European city save game as well, and I lost everything, both cloud and local storages. So I was a little bit bummed, a little bit annoyed about it, but here we are, show must go on as they say, and we're back in a new city, continuing the Japanese film because I loved it so much, and now we're doing this new city called Shigai. Basically it's an ancient capital of the island of Kyushu, which is the southern island of Japan. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to have a nice little old feel as well as a few bit of modern buildings as well. So the idea behind it is to come from a central train station, which will be the sort of the modern capital of the city itself, so like the city centre, but surrounding it, as the buildings get out and out into the outskirts of the city, they get older and older and older, and we start to see some little like old back alley cities and towns and stuff that you would get in Japan. I'm really looking forward to it. So we're starting off now by building the central train station. This is where most City Skylines YouTubers start. In Shimayama I didn't. I started with the beachfront, but I decided this time I'm going to start with the city station. Putting in first, as you saw right at the beginning of this video, and I apologise because I was yapping over it, I put down the Shinkansen line. Now I'm going to put its own individual train track. We're going to have two little Shinkansens running across it. I say little, they're huge, they're about 16 cars long. But they're going to go from end of the map to end of the map. So to start with, I'm just going to mimic that. So we're going to have one coming from one train station right at the end, off into the central station, and then right to the far end as well. Underneath, we're going to have the main train tracks for the city, so this is going to be the central lines and the lines that go off to the outskirts and everything else. And above it, we'll have also the metro. So obviously with City Skylines having the recent update of Sunset Harbour and allowing us to have overground metros, I can put the stations above ground. That's why I had the metro overhaul mod. It was nice to see the built up subway stations in that, but I preferred the bits above it. So it was nice to be able to do that. So we're just putting that in now. Eventually that will go off and then go underground as it goes to different parts of the cities. But it is going to be a bit of an afterthought as we grow the city and build it out. So what I'm going to do now is, like I said, I'm building up the central train station. I'm going to put in things like a car park, and that's going to be above this, and a few other little buildings. There is some missing footage because there was so much and I had to cut this down, otherwise it'll be over an hour long, but I'll let you know as we get there. So I'm going to leave you with a time lapse to watch this and enjoy, because man, I thoroughly enjoy building this. Lots of PO work as well, because yeah, it's me and I love my PO. Have a good time and enjoy, and I will be back in a moment. So I absolutely love these surfaces, and the reason I use these ones is because you can actually place decals on top of them, and they've got a solid bottom to it, so if you go underneath to have a look, you don't see an empty hole like you do with the normal surfaces that we have. So they're absolutely fantastic. They come in several varieties. You've got a park, a grass park, and then obviously the grass and the concrete normal units, which I'm using here. So they don't attract anybody, but they do the good job, and I put some asphalt on top of it later as well, so it merges with the concrete of the roads there as well, and it does overall look quite nice. What you always find around Japanese train stations is they're not just a train station, tend to have like bus hubs as well. So I built them here. I've got this lovely Japanese bus station here, big building. It looks really nice. I will detail it up with some actual buses and stuff at a later date once I've downloaded some, because I don't really have any at the moment. And I'll do the 3 roads that go down, which when they're done and detailed, they look absolutely fantastic. And I'll have all the bus shelters as well. Going opposite the bus station now, I'm going to put these, I think they're like station shopping centres from the Japanese content creator pack. They are fantastic buildings. I use them Shimayama and I absolutely love them. Using PO to make them fit here a bit better, and then I use the service blocks, and you will see me use them a lot. Well, you might not. I might end up doing that off camera. I don't know at this point. But you will see me use them to make those PO buildings actually do something and function properly. Here you go. So this is my first cut, and you can see I've put a load of buildings at the back there. Basically, it's very similar to everything I've done in the past, and I didn't see the point in redoing it and showing you every single thing I do. It's just a bunch of commercial buildings that I placed down. That's basically it. It's really nothing special. So now what we're building is the entrance to this central train station. Okay, I've put this off to one side, and it's quite small. It's basically like a big long walkway that just goes to the platforms. I thought this would look a little different, and I'm quite happy again with the way it turned out. A fantastic asset which I've used there, which is literally just a front to a train station. There's nothing behind it. I think you can put like the tracks behind it and stuff like that in the stations, but the front was fantastic to use. And then I used the station shops, which I have at the moment. I put underneath the main station there, and there you are. So I used the station shops just to give it a bit of an actual building. So you've got the shops on one side, the entrance on the other, and then the walkway going right across the top. Probably some escalators inside, I don't know, I didn't build inside, but I would imagine there's probably escalators, some stairs, lift, etc. going up to it. Again, using one of my favourite networks, and that's the roof networks there. They're absolutely fantastic. They're really nice. The only downside to them is you can't bend them around corners. When you try to bend the segments, they kind of thin in the middle and widen at the end instead of bend themselves, and you can't get really nice curves, which is why I don't use them here. Instead I use the ploppable grass surfaces. So what I end up doing in this whole section here is I build like a little park on top of here, and then I do change my mind ever so slightly, and I end up building like a whole bridge system on this road here, this Magnolia Street. I hate the names, I end up hiding them all eventually anyway. But I end up doing like a whole park above it. There's a bridge, and you go underneath it, and above it is this big park with a old Japanese shrine building on top. It looks quite nice. It has no function. It's just literally for aesthetic usage. But it is quite funky. I'm quite happy with it. Using these Japanese wall assets, which I got off the workshop, I forget who makes them, but they are the best things ever. One, because you can PO them. Always a win in my book. And two, they're raisable and you can do whatever you want to them. And I use them for the edge of this road here, because this road I'm using isn't bridged. It is like it would be if it was on the ground. And I've just got it going over the top. So I had to kind of hide it there a little bit. One asset I really wish I had in Shimayama that I could never get working because my game just wouldn't load if I installed it was this one, the mod that turns everything into props. So I can finally raise trees and do gardens on top of buildings like they have in Japan, because they have a lot of them and they look really nice. And that is exactly what I do here. I start by building this park, and then, as I said earlier, I do change it to go right over the road, and by the end of it, it looks absolutely fantastic. Again, that's what I think. I'm really happy with how this is slowly turning out. I've recorded stuff for episode 2 and 3 as well, which will be coming up. One will be next week and the other will be a week after, or maybe both next week. We'll see how far I get with the editing. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way this place is turning out, and I'm really happy that it's coming out really well, because I was really sad when I lost Shimayama and my European city. It wasn't a very fun time, I'll be honest, but here we are building something new and making the most of it. So I'm now going to start sticking out some detail in a few different buildings, and I'm going to leave you to a nice little short time lapse. I say short, I've said that before, but hey, I'm going to leave you to it, and then I'll be back towards the end. Okay, so now here I'm using the raisable parking lots from the parking lot road mod, or asset collection, whichever way you want to look at it. I like to see it as a mod because it does completely change what we do in the game. But I'm putting them down on top of here, so this becomes a functional parking lot. So it does function. People come up here and park. Unfortunately, due to the mechanics of the game, they do tend to go underneath and drive through the wall sometimes. But it's unfortunately just the way the game is. It's a bit of a shame. It is what it is, I suppose. But yeah, no, absolutely love the way this turns out. Again, I put some asphalt on top, some decals, and make it really shine. Across the back wall there where you see the buildings where I'm placing down these parking lots now, I do like a little risen street with a load of shops on as well. And I put a load of like signs behind it, posters like you would find in Japan. And I do a couple of like signs for my old city as well. Like I did the Shimayama rugby sign because I do miss that city. I loved it. It was really good. And then I also stick the We Have a Stadium Now sign, which I built especially for my European city for the episode where it was entitled We Have a Stadium Now, actually, funny enough. So I also stick that out there as well. So it'll always be there and always a reminder of what I have and what actually started my channel off and the European city was the one that actually started my channel during the lockdown. It gave me something to do, and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed making it, and I absolutely love that city. And I will go back and do another European city at some point. And then Shimayama was the series that really made my channel. I went from a low number of subs to over 100 thanks to Shimayama, so I wanted to show my appreciation for that here. Man, I absolutely love this mod, the one that turns all my trees into props. I don't know where I was without this, how I managed to do so much that I did in Shimayama without it, because, well, look at that here. I think that looks absolutely amazing. I'm really happy with the way this is all turning out. So now we're going to put those signs up, and like I said, I'm going to start off with the European City one. Here we are. Little man jumping from joy. I don't know why. I thought it was kind of an ironic thing, you know. The city was based in a depressed area, so I wanted someone really happy, rainbows and yay, and visit Isolement. We have a stadium now. Just really nice. There's my Shimayama rugby sign as well, which I loved. Still love that. It actually says at the bottom Shimayama, the 13th of October 2019. Putting down some more anime signs here and billboards and everywhere. It is Japan, so there's obviously lots of anime everywhere. But you know, it does look nice and it fills this area up and just completes it in my eyes, and that's, you know, exactly what I was going for. So right, I'm going to leave you now until towards the end with this time lapse of me finishing off this area, because I'm just doing the details now. Okay, so I say I'm just going to do some details now, and I end up building so much. I put a few more buildings down, a couple of bits at the front of the station, where the Shinkansen station is anyway, and I'm going to do a lot more there as well later on. I want to build like a nice castle in front of there, and a nice little Japanese grounds there. It will look quite nice. Now I'm building that bridge now, or the tunnel, as it were, underneath. This, as you could see, I go through so many different types. I try different things to try and get it to work, and I just couldn't get it to work. I originally had the idea of putting those buildings above it, just so on, but as you know, as I've said before, I do change that and I end up extending the gardens at the top. I think it makes it look a lot nicer. Kind of works. Sticking down a few buildings now. This is just to start with residential. Just to get some people moving into the actual city, because without people in the city, it's kind of useless, to be honest. So just sticking down those few residential buildings. I do love those Japanese apartments. I've used them before. I used them in Shimayama. They are really nice, and they do fit the aesthetic of the build I'm going for. So I'm quite happy with that. I do apologise if you can hear my fan in the background. That is my new computer fan. I recently got a new processor, and it gets a little hot when I'm doing recordings, so I do apologise. My fan revs up every now and then. Okay, before anyone else mentions it, because someone will in the comments, I'm sure, I will be replacing this Smith's Toy Superstore sign. I know they don't have them in Japan. I'll replace it with a Toys R Us sign as soon as I manage to find one or make one myself. Anyway, the cinematics are coming up, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this first episode. I absolutely loved doing it. It was really fun to start a new city and get into nitty-gritties of everything and designing. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to continuing this. So thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel, please leave me a subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated, and you'll see everything that's coming up if you hit that lovely little bell icon. If you are a regular, or even if you are new, drop me a like as well and a comment. It's great having you here. I really enjoyed it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a nice one. Goodbye.